review for chapter test 5. The first thing you need to know is to estimate. For example, if you have 12 1/3 and you're going to divide it by 2 5/6, round the 12 1/3. It will be 12 because 1/3 is not close to 5 or above. And round the 2 5/6 to 3. It's almost 5/6 is almost 1. Then your answer is going to be 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Another example is if you have 8/9 plus 3 3/4. 8/9 is very close to 1. 3 3/4 is very close to 4. And your answer is going to be 5. Box your answers so that I know where they're at and show all work. The second thing you need to know is how to add fractions, showing all work. For instance, if you have 4/9 plus 3/18, you're going to show how to make like fractions. 18 is my common denominator, and if I take 4/9 and times 9 by 2, I'll get 18, and I have to do the same to the numerator. So I end up with 8 over 18 plus 3 over 18, which is 11 over 18. And that is in simplest form, so I can box it. You're going to also have to know how to subtract, especially when you need to borrow. So, for example, if you have 3 1/3 minus 2 5/6, show what you get for a common denominator. In this case, it'll be 6. And show that you're making 1/3 into a like fraction. So you'll end up with 3 2/6 minus 2 5/6. Now you need to show how to borrow. You're going to take 1 away from the 3, so it'll be 2. Add the 6 and 2 together, and you get 8/6 minus 2 5/6. So now 8 minus 5 is 3 over 6. The 2 cancels out. Now some of you may want to leave your answer like this, but it is not correct until you put it in simplest form. And we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 3. So you're going to end up with 1/2, and that's what you will box. The next thing you're going to need to know is how to multiply your fractions, which is much easier than subtracting or adding them. The first example is 4/9 times 3/12. You can simply multiply the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator, but it's much easier to cross-cancel. So looking across, 4 goes into 12 3 times in itself once. 3 goes into itself once, and 9 3 times. So I'm going to end up with 1 times 1 and 3 times 3, which will equal to 1 over 9. And I'll box that. The next one is if you have a mixed number with multiplication, you must change that to improper. So this one will become 14/3, and this one will become 5/2. Now I'm going to look across. I can cross cancel here. Oops, this should be 3/2. Sorry about that. Cross cancel here and cross cancel here. So 7 times 1 and 1 times 1 is going to be equal to 7 over 1, which is equal to 7, and I will box that. Dividing is a little different. We need to keep change, flip. The first example is 4/9 divided by 3/12. Keep the first fraction, change to multiplication, and flip. And here you can see that I can cross-cancel. 3 goes into 12 4 times and 9 3 times. Then I'm going to have 16 over 9, which is equal to 1 7/9 if I want to make it a mixed number. You can keep it 16 over 9. The second example is with two mixed numbers, 1 1/2 divided by 1 1/4. So we'll make 2 1/2, not 1 1/2, into 5/2. Change to multiplication. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5/4. We'll flip it. And so here you can see that we can take the 5 out. 2 goes into 4, and we'll end up with 1 times 2 and 1 times 1, which is equal to 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. And we can box that. The next thing is very important. It's to solve equations using the properties of equality. So if you have y over 4 is equal to 2, you're going to do the opposite operation. Y over 4 means y divided by 4. What you want to do is multiply by the 4. Remember, 4 is always over 1. And the 4 on both sides. You have to show that. So 4 goes away and you have y equals 8. Now I also ask you on your test to check that. So you know y equals 8. So plug in 8 for y and see if that's equal to 2. Well, it's definitely equal to 2, and we can show that with the reflexive property. The next example is with a fraction. So if you have 3/7 t is equal to -3, and remember your integer rules, so what you're going to do is flip this fraction to get rid of it with a t. That's your objective, to get t by itself. And you have to do the same to the other side of the equation. These go away. T is equal to -21 over 3, which is equal to -7. Remember that your negative times a positive is a negative. Now you still need to check, so we'll plug in -7 for t. Remember that any integer is over 1, and I'm going to see if this is equal to -3. I can cross cancel, but I've got to remember that -1. 3 times -1 is -3. 1 times 1 is 1, and we have correctly answered this problem. You're also going to be asked to find the multiplicative inverse. Maybe to spell it too. So if they give you something like -5, remember that -5 is an integer and always over 1. So to get your inverse, you're going to flip it, and you'll have -1/5. So the idea is to have the two multiply together to get 1. Now if you have a mixed number, you're going to have to change it to improper. So 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1 is 13/3. To get your answer, you're going to have to flip it. And your answer is 3 over 13. I'll box this other one as well.